Hi, I'm Tiffany. I've been a veterinary technician for about 14 years now, which is crazy to even think about. I started in California working as soon as I got into college at a veterinary facility. I started as a receptionist, moved my way up to assisting, and then to technician, and then moved to Ohio and just kept doing it from there on. Schooling to be a vet tech, it depends on the state. Every state is different. In the state of Ohio, you have to have 2 years at a veterinary technician school. So right now you see Blue Ash, the Raymond Walters has a veterinary technician program. 2 years. Typically though, the waiting list is really long. It's very competitive. They did have other schools like Brown Mackie, but they lost their accreditation. In California, what I did is I never went to veterinary technician school. I worked doing my undergrad degree and worked at a veterinary clinic at the same time. And in the state of California, you can, depending on how many hours you get, you can just take the test and become a registered veterinary technician, which is what I did. Unfortunately, Ohio doesn't recognize that. They believe that you should go to school for the 2 years in order to become an official licensed or registered veterinary technician. You can still be a non-licensed veterinary technician. A lot of practices do that. It just depends. The pay is better, obviously, if you're registered or licensed. For me, there's a lot. There's definitely a lot. The first obvious one is obviously euthanasia. I know for me, being in this industry for so long and at this practice since 2007, you form a relationship with the client. You see their kids come in, you watch their pets grow up from puppies to whatnot. And I think the hardest thing for me is when they're in the room with them having to go through this, I start crying because I love the client, I love the pet, and I get what they're going through. And even if you don't necessarily have that connection with the owner and you don't cry in that moment, because not everyone does, I'm just an emotional person, it still catches up with you. And a lot of people say, like, how do you ever get used to that? And you don't. You never do. The only thing you do is understand it's part of the circle of life, and they'll be in a better place at that point. I guess another difficult, challenging thing would be having to always remind yourself that this is what I do every day. And I know the medicine, and I know I can see something if the pet's not doing well. And a lot of clients just don't have that, understandably. And I'll never forget, we had an older man come in with his cat, and he said she hasn't been eating for a couple days, but as soon as the cat got out of the carrier, it was so skinny, and every white surface, tips inside of his ears, the sclera of his eyes, inside of his gums was yellow. And you can tell that cat had jaundice and had a serious liver problem, and it wasn't just not eating for a couple days, it was not eating for a couple weeks. And the owner just had no idea. And you can't get upset at the owner. They just don't know. And that's a hard part, because you want to be mad, but you can't. And you just have to understand that they don't know those things. And then I'd say the third most challenging or difficult thing is, clients will come in and have you do all these services for their pet, and then have no money at the end of it. And it's hard because you need to be paid for the services you provide, but then they turn around saying, well, we just have no money. And the more you have to talk to them about that, they say, well, you clearly just don't care about animals. And that's just not fair. And I think that breaks my heart the most. Besides seeing puppies and kittens, obviously, I love the connections that we build with the clients and the trust that they give us for taking care of their pet. I think one of the best feelings is, a client will come in, they obviously trust the doctor, the medicine and everything that they're providing and what they're recommending. But when you've been at a facility for so long, clients really end up trusting you. And I will still have clients call me and say, the doctor recommended that I do X, Y, and Z. What do you think? What do you think, Tiff? What would you do for your pet? And that means a lot to me, that I'm able to have them trust me, one, to take care of their four-legged animal, because that's what it is to a lot of clients. It's their four-legged child. And just like, I know who's walking in right now, and I know who she is, and I adore her, and she's amazing. And it's almost like you come to work and you're just with family, and that, I enjoy that a lot. Definitely personality. You always got to think of bedside manner. So we have colleagues that, come in and they're just very serious and straightforward and come in and whatnot. But I personally think the better the personality, you're going to make that connection with the client. They're going to trust you and talk to you. Just think of when you're at you're at the doctor or things like that. So I definitely think personality. You need to be able to stand for a long period of time too. You're up, down, all over the place. Picking up dogs. You have to be able to be physically able to do those things. I take a leave all the time, but I don't know, that's just how you have to do that. And then you have to be able to handle all the gross aspects of the job, because there are some nasty things you have to deal with. Dogs waking up from anesthesia, you gotta think their bodies aren't used to it. They could have blowout diarrhea, and you have to be able to handle that. This just smells alone, you can't even imagine some of the times, but being able to handle that, being able to see surgery and help with that. It's a very stressful job. Depending on the type of facility you work at, it is nonstop. You're up and down moving. You have clients that are very emotionally, whether they have to put their pet down or they're just so attached to their pet and don't want you to take them out of the room, to clients that are yelling at you. It's just